Okay. What is going on, everybody? My name is Mangg, and I am back. I am home. I'm in my home in the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. Um. So we are playing Dark Souls today because I figure that is just the best game to come back to. And yeah, I am very glad to be home. It's always nice to come home after a long trip, especially over 3 weeks of a trip. I have missed doing many things. I've missed going to Applebee's. I've missed going to movies. I've missed Let's Plays. I've missed recording. I've missed working on exploring videos. Missed a lot of things. But I am back. In the flesh. But I have more European tales to discuss. Last time we left off, last Sunday, when I was in Germany, I was in my suite in Braunschweig. And yeah, I had been in Germany for 4 or 5 days at that point, something like that. I don't think I was halfway through my trip yet. So let's see. That next day, a Monday. Gosh, it all kind of blends together. Scheiße. Gosh. I don't know. I can't remember day to day. So I'll just kind of sum up stuff that happened. We went bowling one night, which consisted of me and her, and then two groups of, well, no, four of her friends, which were all couples. So there was a married couple and there was a dating couple. And the married couple had like a couple kids. The dating couple were closer to my age. And so, yeah, it was kind of like a couple thing, except one of the couples was not really a couple. And one of her friends spoke decent English, I guess. Another one spoke kind of English, and then the other two not really at all. And so it was just like they mostly spoke German with each other, and they like made jokes, and then they all laughed, and I didn't understand anything, and so that was kind of awkward. But bowling, that was something that I wanted to do because I thought Germans were all about bowling. I thought Germans all bowled. They all loved bowling. I don't know. I don't know. I thought they invented bowling. And she does not like bowling, but she apparently set this up and went along because I wanted to go. And I think she doesn't like it because she's terrible at it. Like, she bowls like a 25 on average, which is, if you don't bowl, it's pretty bad. It's a pretty bad score. See ya. Um, Now, for me, for bowling, I used to be very bad because of the way that I bowled. I might have talked about this at some point. Um, the way that I used to bowl, it's hard to describe. I guess kind of how you'd launch a discus in the Olympics, where you kind of like sidearm it, to get a lot of centrifugal force or what centripetal or whatever the one it is, you know. So you basically you hold your arm at the side and you're trying to whip it pretty much. That's kind of how I bowled. It made the ball. I found like I'd use like one of the heaviest balls I could find, and it made it go very very fast. And if it did hit the pins, it would create a thunderous clap of sound that everyone would hear. And I used to draw crowds with the way that I used to bowl. Now, it was not very effective. Okay, I did not score high. It was really just kind of a spectacle when it did manage to go down the lane fairly center and hit pins. It was spectacular. A passing black man told me that I was as dangerous as the inner city. That is a direct quote that I will never forget in my life. So I have that bowling technique to credit for that. So there were two problems with it, though. The one is that it didn't score very well. So it didn't look too good on the scoreboard. And two, it put a tremendous amount of pressure on like my shoulder and multiple joints and bones, and it was not healthy. It was not a healthy way to play. I enjoyed it though. That's how I bowled for a good amount of time. But I eventually decided to stop because I was, well, for one, I wanted to just save my whole right arm for my future. And two, I figured, I might as well just play normally, save my arm, and score better. So I abandoned that strategy. I might do it on occasion, just because people like seeing it, but I will not bowl a whole game like that. So I bowl pretty normally now, and I do okay. I'm not an incredible bowler, but I don't go bowling that often. I enjoy it, but it's just not something we do too often. So that brings us to bowling in Germany. I started out and I was very rusty. I had not bowled in quite a while, so I did not do very well the first game, and she did not do very well the first game, and so we were just both kind of shitty. The second game, I had continued to be pretty rusty. Whereas her, for some reason, I don't know if it was just... I don't know what it was. For whatever reason, she managed to do very well. It was probably, I think, the greatest bowling score she's ever had. And I was doing pretty rough for the first half or so. And she was actually pretty happy, and she was bowling, and she was glad, and she was doing decent. She ended up bowling, I think, an 88, which is not spectacular, but when you suck at bowling, it's a pretty nice score to get, I guess. And I ended up getting a 90, which is also not great, but better than the first game for me. So I ended up beating her by 2 points, and that is when the tide shifted. And I learned that she is a very sore loser. Very sore. Like, actively resenting me for beating her. And so, I didn't realize it quite in that moment. It wasn't until into the third game that I kind of realized it. So it was a little too late for me. If I had known it beforehand, I could have like pretended I wasn't a great bowler. Not that I'm a great bowler. I pretended I was a shitty bowler or whatever. Shit. But I realized a little too late, and so it would just be, you might piss the person off even more if you just start suddenly sucking for, whatever reason. So the third game, I just kind of bowled, and I figured, well, maybe she'll bowl more competitively, and it'll be competitive, but no, she bowled like a 54 or something. I bowled a 126, which I was pretty happy with. I thought that's an average good score, right? Maybe. I got some strikes in there, and yeah, she was not happy. All of her friends seemed to like me, but she was not happy. So that's not really a goal you want to achieve, I don't think. But I don't know what you want from me, man. I was there to bowl, and I bowled. I'm sorry. Scoop. Okay, we get it. Jesus. I haven't done this fight in so long. So yeah, that was pretty much that. What else did we do? We didn't really do much. I mean, to be clear, I didn't do much on my trip to Germany because she worked every day and she was very tired, and so we just didn't do a lot. One of the days we went to the canal, which is like a landmark in small town Germany. It's a river, and there's a bridge that runs over it, and trains run on the bridge, and that's it. That's the extent of it. And so yeah, we just kind of walked to the canal, and most of it was in silence or me kind of making remarks or asking questions that I got one word answers to and stuff like that, and that was pretty much that. That might have actually, I think that was the same day we went bowling. Another one of the days, we went back to my hotel room and we watched a movie. And so I didn't bring that many movies because I didn't think that was going to be a huge part of what I was going to do. But I brought a small selection on my laptop. And so I'm like, okay, well, what's a good movie that everyone likes? And I started up Jurassic Park. And I'm like, well, everyone likes Jurassic Park. And she says, oh, not Jurassic Park. And I'm like, oh. Those words should never come out of anyone's mouth ever. Man, woman, child, grandparent, alien, whatever. Everyone likes Jurassic Park. I was horrified. I was pretty horrified. I didn't know what to say. I just kept on saying everyone likes Jurassic Park, but she was very adamantly against it. And I was like, okay. And I was honestly like, I don't know what movie I would have that you'd watch. We ended up watching The Raid Redemption, which is pretty funny. I would not have expected that. But yeah, we sat there and we watched the whole movie. So, an Indonesian movie with English dubs and German subtitles. And she said at the end, I asked her, like, during the movie, I was like, do you like martial arts? She didn't know what it meant, and I kind of explained it, and she was like, oh, no. I'm like, well, that's most of the movie later on. But at the end, she said it was good. She said it was okay. She said, well, actually, what she said, she said better than Jurassic Park would have been. Yeah. Um. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else we had for dinner. Oh, there was a lunch one of the days. We had lunch at her house. Her mom made it. It was she called it. I asked what it was called, what they called it. And she said sausage goulash. And immediately I knew that didn't seem right, because goulash, as far as I know, is like a stew. And what she served was hot dogs and mushrooms cut up and served with rice. So not a goulash. Not at all. That's you can picture it. I'm sure you can picture it in your head. Hot dogs and mushrooms with rice. No sauce of any kind. No gravy. No nothing. No, just hot dogs and mushrooms. And it was not very. I ate the whole thing, but that was just to be polite. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm overall impressed with German cuisine. I don't know, I expected a lot more potatoes, and I didn't get a lot of potatoes, because all anyone eats in Europe is French fries. They love French fries so fucking much in Europe. I would say 80% of my meals throughout the 3-week trip involved French fries. It's insane. Like, really. And sometimes you have an option. But usually the option is either having French fries or having nothing. And so it's like, well, okay, guess French fries it is. And sometimes they vary it and they have like steak fries, like big thick cut fries, and sometimes it's normal fries. But it's fries, and you better like them. What else? Oh, one of the days we were at the mall, and we got froyo, frozen yogurt. Yeah. It's not very often I go to a mall and I get frozen yogurt. Okay, that's what a girl thing to do. Anyways. No, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's all you give to the tourists. That's all I saw anyone eating ever, anywhere. 3 different countries. It was the only thing on the menu. Bullshit. Anyways, we got froyo. We eat the froyo. It's good. It's not as sweet as it should be because Germans don't like anything too sweet. So they don't put as much sugar in anything as we do. Heathens. And she like licks her spoon clean after she's done, and then she puts this plastic spoon in her purse. And I'm like, did you just put a spoon in your purse? Because I don't know. I thought, okay, they're like impoverished or something. They need the spoons and they reuse them, or I don't know. They're pretty wealthy as far as people go, so it seemed strange. And she says, "Oh, well, my dad loves plastic spoons." And it's like, how do you respond to something like that? He loves spoons. And after she elaborated, I discovered he likes regular spoons, and he doesn't have like a specific fascination with spoons. But specifically, when he's eating yogurt, he likes a plastic spoon. Only yogurt. That's it. And I think she said it was a good spoon. So there has to be like degrees that he considers different plastic spoons. And they gave me some like strawberries to take back to my hotel to eat. And they gave me a plastic spoon with them. And it was apparently like one of his prized plastic spoons. Because she said, if you lose that spoon, he will be really angry. And I'm like, well, shit. Well, I didn't need the king's spoon. Give me a shitty plastic spoon. But yeah, apparently he like collects degrees of plastic spoons to eat his yogurt. And only his yogurt. Everything else is like, regular spoon is fine. But yogurt, you need plastic. And it better be good. And she was on like the lookout. She was on the lookout for a good plastic spoon. And she knew to collect it. And so I felt bad, like, because I threw mine away. I just threw mine in the trash because I did not think that a man would collect plastic spoons from a random froyo shop. And so I thought I could have earned some favor with the man if I had given him my plastic froyo spoon. It's not like plastic spoons are like a rarity. You know, you can, if you like plastic spoons, you can buy the shit out of plastic spoons. So I don't understand the whole process. But that was that. That was that story. Yeah, apparently Germans just do weird shit. What else? Oh, we went shopping. So we had another day of shopping. She brought along her best friend, and we just kind of went around Braunschweig, and we did some more shopping. And her friend doesn't really speak any English, so that was fun. And I had kind of mentioned, maybe joked a little bit, that I was going to be the third wheel of that shopping trip. Because it's a girl that, you know, her native tongue with her best friend. I would assume they are going to talk quite a bit in German and not a whole lot in English. And so I was just going to be kind of tagging along. But when I said that, she got very angry. She said, like, I don't remember exact phrase. It was something like, stop with that shit or something like that. And I was like, wow. You know, it's not often she gets actually angry. And so that was an okay day. I finished off the rest of my souvenir shopping and all that. And that was the day, that was Wednesday. So that was my deadline day where I was going to tell her about the whole situation. So that whole day, that's kind of what I'm thinking about. And so I was worried that the friend was going to go with us to dinner, and I was going to be like, oh, I don't know when I'm going to tell her. But fortunately, her friend skipped out, and so the two of us went to dinner. We went to a Mexican bar / restaurant. It was like pretty much the only one in the city. And so, we got our food. I got a frozen strawberry margarita that was pretty loaded with alcohol. And I got a chimichanga, which was not a chimichanga. It was just a baked burrito. So they called it a chimichanga, but it was not. And it was decent. I mean, they had all the ingredients. It was not a chimichanga. And so, yeah, so we get through dinner, and I'm feeling a little buzz from my margarita, as one does. And we're just kind of sitting there waiting for the check, and I'm like, well, there's something that we should talk about that we haven't talked about, and I hope you know what I'm talking about. And she had no clue, so I was like, well, okay. And I said, well, I like you. And I was waiting for some recognition to happen, but nope. And I said, well, I really like you. And then I paused. And then she said, and more? And I'm like, well, I like you as more than a friend. And she said, I like you, but I don't love you. That is what she said. Those were her words. And she originally tried to just lessen the blow, I guess, by saying, I swear to you, I believe she said, you live so far away, I don't want to bother you. Which is ridiculous. I mean, I wouldn't have gone this far if I wasn't planning to, take that full step. So that was pretty much bullshit. And then she said that I'm not her type. She said, we're really good friends, but you're not my type. And I wasn't as heartbroken as I thought I would be, interestingly enough. I don't know if it was the alcohol helping out or what, but I wasn't like a wreck or anything. It was like, huh. Really, I thought, like, well, this was a big waste of time and money. And so we just kind of sat there for a while, and I just kind of, like, there wasn't anything else for me to say. So I just kind of sat there and looked off into the distance. And so she just kept on saying, well, don't be so sad. And I'm like, well, it is what it is. Um, yeah, apparently she had no idea. She had no idea that I was interested in her. And so, really, what it comes down to is just kind of cultural differences and misunderstandings and obliviousness, I guess, on both our parts. Obliviousness on my part for not recognizing the cultural differences and that she thought of me as just a good friend, and obliviousness on her part for not recognizing that I was interested in her more than that. The whole family cousin thing, that did not even come up. Like, that was not a concern for either. She didn't care. Um, I was the first one to mention that because she said, I hope we can still be friends, of course. And I said, I think we'll be cousins. Which, at the time, I didn't mean it as a joke. I meant it as kind of like, I don't consider most of my cousins my friends. I just consider them cousins because I'm not really that close to them compared to friends. Mert's like the sole exception because he's Mert. Um, and then so later on, like the next day, the next couple days, then she tried to use that excuse as like, well, we're family, you know. It's like, well, okay, you can use whatever excuse you want. Um, so yeah, I mean, we just kind of we paid the bill, and actually, she paid the bill. She paid for my dinner, so I got that at least. Um, and she drove me back to the hotel, and I'm just like, yeah, good night, I guess. I was fairly cold to her, I suppose, but oh well. And yeah, it didn't really hit me too bad that night. Maybe because of the alcohol. The next morning, though, I was definitely a lot sadder. Basically, because I woke up as a stranger in a strange land with no longer any reason to be there. And yeah, homesickness was definitely really hitting me as well. So that combined was just like, fuck. So I spent that entire Thursday in my hotel. Did not step outside of my room. My lunch was like a bunch of candy, and then my dinner I had some local burger place deliver me a burger and fries. And it was really good and really affordable, and I liked it a lot. But yeah, I did not step outside of my hotel room. I did not see her. We texted a little bit, but not much. What the fuck am I doing in this game? I just got the Lord Vessel, so I'm going to kill Sif, I guess. And yeah, so that was Thursday. Fairly uneventful Thursday. I just watched a bunch of television and yeah. Um Friday. Friday was her grandparents' 50th anniversary. And ordinarily I would not really care about this, but my dad knew that this was going to happen. And so he knew that there was going to be a big party for it. And he was very, very insistent that I be there. And he was very glad that I was going to be there for such a momentous occasion. Um, and so he knew it was going to happen. And so if I wasn't there, if I didn't have evidence or a story or whatever that I was there, there was going to be inquiries as to why I was not there. And so I did not want to go. I did not at all want to go to that. I didn't want to sit there with her and spend a couple hours at an anniversary with a bunch of people I don't understand and just, I did not want to go, but I figured I'm better off going than not going and trying to explain the whole thing. So she picked me up, and I barely said a word to her over there on the way over there, and we didn't say almost anything to each other at the party. I talked with this German guy who spoke English, and he told me a lot of weird stories. He told me this story. I'm going to try to paraphrase, but his English was not perfect, mind you. So I'm going to try to... Ooh, I got a Black Knight halberd, huh? Try to piece together. Basically, like... He knew this... We were talking about drinking or alcoholism or something like that. And so he knew, like, this Irish alcoholic guy or something like that. And, like, the first time he met him or something like that. And he went over to his house with his boss there or something like... Again, like, it's... I got the punchline of the joke, but everything leading up to it is a little strange. So they're at this, I'm pretty sure it was an Irish guy, he was an alcoholic, blah, 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 and they drank a bunch, he drank a lot, the Irish guy. And so they're all sitting there, he's pretty drunk, blah, blah, blah. And so they're all just sitting there chatting or whatever, and suddenly the Irish guy stands up and he says, okay, at the count of 3, let's all drop our pants. And so... The other guys, including the German guy I'm talking to, thought it was a joke. Thought he was just drunk and joking. But sure enough, he counts to 3, and then he drops his pants. And, he lets it all hang out. And the boss, I think it was the boss. It was not the guy I was talking to. The other guy, he remarks... I don't know. He remarks on how small this dude's dick is, for whatever reason. And the Irish drunk guy says, yes, it's small, but it's big enough to fit inside a prawn. That's the joke. That's the story. And so I laughed with him. But I was really just kind of laughing at the utter fucking absurdity of the story he just told me. Like, what was that story? What the hell? What? I don't know. It was crazy. So he told me stories like that. And apparently he knew my dad and my uncle from when they were kids. They played cowboys and Indians in the woods together, even though he was like 8 years older than him. So, I don't know. It's all kind of strange. So, yeah, I spent pretty much the whole party talking to him. And it was a pretty small anniversary party. I thought it was going to be a big spectacle with the whole village there, but it was like 18 people. And it was basically in like a makeshift tent in their garage. And they had like little finger sandwiches. And that was pretty much it. They had cake, but it wasn't very good. They had alcohol, and I was coerced into drinking a shot of brandy, I guess. I think it was brandy, that's what they said. It was like peach brandy or something. It was not very good. It was not something, I don't know. I don't get it. Like, it tasted like something that would run out of a car. Like, it's just, I don't know. If you're just drinking this stuff to get drunk, then just like, I don't know, drink. There's got to be some form of like 100% alcohol you can find that just tastes like pure poison, but it gets you wasted in a sec. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe they enjoy it. Maybe it's an acquired taste, but tasted like absolute shit to me. Anyways, so we took a family photo with me and her parents and her grandparents, and it's just like we kind of like stood apart from each other with like our arms crossed. Like it did not look like we were best buds. And I was really hungry because they didn't have any food there, so she had to drive me back to the hotel, and I'm like, well, I gotta get some food. And so while we're driving back, I decided that, okay, I can't keep a grudge. Like, whatever. So I decided to just open up and talk to her about the whole thing. And I tried to be as candid as possible and not be weird about it or anything. And she was really sorry for the differences, and obviously she didn't want this to happen, and she thought we were just really good friends. But it's like, you send me pictures of you in a bikini and in the bathtub, and I did not ask for those pictures. I didn't say, hey, send me a picture of you in a bikini because we're best buds. She just sent me those, and it's like, yeah, we're good friends. Like, is that what friends do in Germany? Like, apparently. I don't know. Like, if my friend's fiance sent me a picture randomly of her in a bikini, I would not be like, oh, what a good friend she is. Like, what the fuck is going on here? That's what I would think, but apparently Germany is different, or so she would have me believe. I'm not sure. Maybe she did really like me at some point, and then I got off the plane and she was like, what the fuck am I doing? Maybe. And she changed her mind real quick. I hate this Hydra. Anyways. So I was like, it's not a big deal. It's not like I liked you that much. Yeah, so I just kind of talked candidly for a while about it. And that was pretty much, I said that, of course I still want to be friends. And, yeah. And so it seemed like we left off that night on a better note. So Saturday comes around, yesterday. Jesus Christ, that was yesterday. It seemed like a week ago. Yesterday, we're all heading up to Berlin because I'm flying out of Berlin. I was flying out of Berlin today, so we decided to go there, spend the day, do some sightseeing, and then I can get a hotel, and that'll be that. So, getting up at the crack of my ass, way too damn early, getting ready, getting picked up, and we drive the couple hours over to Berlin. And so it's me, her dad, and then a friend of the family, Matthias. But his name is not Matthias. It's like Matthias or Matthias or Matthias. It's basically Matthias, but take out the H. And it's a way less cool of a name. Just call yourself Matthias. Anyways. He apparently lived in Berlin for like 20 years. He knew the city inside and out. I don't know if that's something to be proud of. And he spoke decent English, so he was our tour guide. And it's funny because he thought and her dad thought that I was really interested in Germany and learning about German history and German culture. And that's what she thought as well until, I dropped this bombshell on her. And now she understands that I don't give a shit. Which is funny because I pretty much told her that at some point. When we were discussing me coming to Germany, she's like, oh, well, you got to see all this and this and this. And I told her I was only coming to hang out with her. Like, I said to her, if she lived in Switzerland, I would be coming to Switzerland. Like, I don't, it's whatever. So, I guess nothing really stuck to it. So we get to Berlin around 9 a.m. and we decide to have breakfast. So we stop at this little German, I don't know, bistro or whatever you'd call it. Ein Bistro. And this is the place that he apparently always comes to whenever he visits Berlin now. He goes to this place for breakfast. And so we look at the menu and they have like, it's called like the Big Breakfast or something. The Gross Frühstück or whatever. And it's, you get like some deli meats, some cheese, some jam, some marmalades, an egg, and a shit ton of bread, all for €3.50, which seems like a pretty good deal because it was a lot of bread. Shit. So really good deal, and you get something called, I can't pronounce it. It's called Met. But there it was called, I don't even want to say it because it's wrong. It's like Hackapeder, I don't know. Just look up Met, M-E-T-T. And I didn't know what it was because I don't read German. I had never heard of it and blah, blah, blah. And he says, oh, what am I doing here? He says, it's really good. It's like the best thing. You'll love it. You'll love it. I'm like, okay. I mean, it comes with it, so whatever. So the plates come out, the bread comes out. Everything looks okay. I mean, it's not an American breakfast, let's be clear. There was no sausages, no scrambled eggs, no toast even. It's a European German breakfast, so it's different. I expected different. It's fine. You got your deli meats there, and you've got cheese and a little egg, like a boiled egg. The jams. The bread was pretty good. And then in the middle of it all, there is a little bowl containing a pile of what looks to be raw meat. Oh, yes. And I'm just like staring at it like, what the fuck is this? I didn't know what to think. I thought it might be a mistake or something, or like I have to make the fire myself. That's part of like a German breakfast, is you make the fire to cook your sausage. And then the dude starts forking it onto his bread roll. And I'm just, what the fuck? And so I asked, like maybe it's like a trick of the eye or something. Like maybe it's not raw meat. Maybe it's just like, you know how they can make cakes that look like all sorts of different stuff. Maybe it's something like that. Maybe it's a cake that looks like raw meat. Maybe, please God. So I asked, what is it? And he says, raw pork. And I'm thinking, okay, well, you know, his English isn't great. Maybe he meant raw beef. Because, you know, that's a thing. I've never had it, but I know steak tartare and all that. People eat raw beef. So I look it up. Nope, he has his English right. Raw pork. And so I start reading about it on the internet while it's sitting there in front of me. And yeah, apparently they all love it. Germans love it. They eat it like all the time for breakfast. They love it. And apparently they don't really get sick from it. Like, not at all from what I read. And all the articles that I read were from, like, obviously English speakers that were just like, Germans are fucking nuts, man. Look at what they're eating. But Germans love it, and they've been eating it for decades. It's raw pork. Like, there's nothing to it. It's literally just ground up pork that is not cooked. It's not really seasoned or anything. It's just literally a bowl of raw pork. And they all put it on their rolls and they ate it. And then later on, the dude just grabbed a fork and he's like, oh, I love it so much. And he just started forking raw pork into his mouth. And I'm like, what kind of fucking backwards country am I in? Why is this better than cooking it? Why? What about it is good that is not enhanced by the presence of heat? And so, you know, I guess I'm a fairly adventurous eater for the most part, although I did not eat escargot in Paris, for those wondering. I had the opportunity to, but then I was like, fuck it, I don't need that in my life. Who am I trying to impress? And so, shit. So yeah, I ate it. Yeah, I ate it. I didn't eat a lot of it, but I put some on a roll and I ate it. And I could taste it. You know, I could feel it in my mouth, so it's not like there was so little it wasn't even there. I could feel it in my mouth. And it tastes like what you'd expect raw pork to taste like. Which is not good. It's not good. It's just raw pork. I've eaten raw chicken on a dare, and it doesn't really taste good. It just tastes like raw meat. And really, the texture is the bad part. And I would say the same for raw pork. It's just like squishy. It's squishy. That's what it is. It's just squishy, uncooked meat. And so I ate it. I mean, I ate the whole roll because I wanted to be polite. I'm a polite guy. But I mean, the rest of the day, I was like, am I going to fucking die? Like, I just ate raw pork. Like, there's no joke. It's raw pork. Just, I don't get it. It's insane. It's just insane. So I told my dad about it. And he apparently eats it all the time, and I just never noticed. I don't know if he hides it from... How did I never know he ate this? But he calls it Met, which is like the southern term for it, or something like that. Southern Germany. Whereas they called it something different with an H. Yeah. Fucking just cook it. We invented fire a long time ago for that exact purpose. So we didn't have to sit around a cave shoveling raw meat into our gullets. Like, fire serves a good purpose. Use it. Just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And schnitzel, I mean, yeah, schnitzel is good, but it's really just like a breaded pork chop. That's all it is. It's not like some magic recipe. My mom makes breaded pork chops all the time. I've discussed them recently, combined with mashed potatoes. And that's what I thought was missing from my German trip. I really got almost no potatoes other than French fries. And so if they had given me schnitzel and a mound of mashed potatoes, I would have been all over that. I would have eaten that like that dude ate that raw pork. Not that, I mean, schnitzel is not bad. I just didn't think it was holy shit, this is so special. It's like fish and chips in London. I ate fish and chips in London. It was good, but it wasn't like, oh my god, this is so special and amazing. And I mean, I ate homemade schnitzel and I ate schnitzel in a restaurant, so I had my share. And currywurst, you know, that was supposed to be something crazy, special, and good. But, I mean, I had it a couple times, and from my understanding, all it really is basically a hot dog covered in ketchup, and they throw curry powder on top of it. I don't know, man. Anyways, so we explored Berlin. Basically, it was mostly it was a driving tour of Berlin. This guy drove me around town and just kind of told me little anecdotes about various landmarks and stuff like that. The problem is that I get car sick pretty easily. And driving around a city is especially bad for that because there's a lot of starting and stopping. So it was not a great day. I really just wanted it to end. And I can't really even remember almost anything he told me. Because it's all like these little anecdotes about things in the city, and it's like, okay, I'm not going to remember this. But I had to just pretend to be interested because I didn't want to offend the guy. You know, I'm not going to pull him aside and say, like, dude, I really don't care about Berlin. I just came to this stupid country because I wanted to bang this chick. Like, I'm not, no, that's no good. So yeah, it wasn't a great day, and we had, like, currywurst for lunch or whatever. And then I thought we were going to go out to dinner, but basically, they took me to a grocery store, and they're like, okay, you should pick something out for your dinner later. Because we're just dropping you off at the hotel, and we're leaving. So yeah, I grabbed, like, a packaged sandwich and a bag of potato chips, and I'm like, well, this is my sad final dinner in Germany. God damn it. And so, yeah, we got me checked into a hotel. The hotel room for one night cost me 70 euros. And it was probably the worst hotel I've ever been in. It just seemed very, very dirty. But everything in Germany is a little dirty. That is what I discovered. That's how I would sum up Germany, is a little dirty. I mean, we saw a prostitute. And, I mean, yeah. It was either an ugly guy or a really ugly woman. One of the two. And he mentioned child prostitution, and he said it right as we were driving past a kid. So I don't know if he was pointing that out to me as a child prostitute. I didn't get a great look at the kid, but it didn't. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how child prostitutes dress. I know how prostitutes dress. I don't know if child prostitutes do a similar thing or they try to be a bit more subtle about it. It looked like kind of a. I don't know. It looked like a kid straight out of the 90s. Really, it was a very like garish windbreaker or something. I don't know. Maybe child prostitutes dress like 90s kids. I have no idea. So I don't know if that's what he was implying or he just saw a kid and was like, oh yeah, there's child prostitutes. I don't know. I did not ask for more details. Communal showers. Jesus. I would probably just skip the shower and feel bad for anyone sitting next to me on the plane the next day. Yeah, Berlin is not a city I would ever live in, ever. Paris, maybe. London, sure. Berlin, no. Not at all. So yeah, they dropped me off at my hotel. I had my sandwich and my potato chips. a Coke Zero, and that's where we said our goodbyes because they were leaving to go back home and they were not coming back. So that was our goodbyes. Um, and I shook Matthias's hand, and I gave her dad a hug and a handshake, and then she like opened her arms for a hug, and I just stuck out my hand. Because she had been, I'm gonna be honest, she was kind of a bitch that day. I think she was just really tired and she just didn't really want to be in Berlin. And it was raining and she really hates rain, so I think she was just not having a great day. But, I mean, I call it like I see. She was being kind of a bitch that day. She just never, like, smiled at anything. She didn't talk to me at all. I sometimes asked her a question and she just was like... She just, like, anything I asked her, she just like, I don't know the words. And it was like, okay, we've been talking English for like a year now. That's bullshit. But okay, you don't know the words. She was just real pissy. So I was like, I honestly wondered, like, how did we even become friends? Like, how did this work for a year? I don't get it. So that's why I threw the handshake. But then her and I went inside the hotel so we could get my key and all that and blah, blah, blah. And so then when we said our other goodbyes, I did give her a hug and blah, blah, blah. And that was pretty much it. I went to bed, got up, had breakfast. They had a huge platter of raw pork. They had other stuff. It was actually a pretty decent breakfast, considering how shitty the hotel was otherwise. Maybe they were trying to compensate. And the hotel called a taxi for me, so I got a German taxi. He didn't speak pretty much any English, but he understood airport, so that was good. And he understood when I tipped him like €5 because I was like, I don't need euros ever again and I don't care, so here. So he was very happy about that. And the Berlin airport, of the 5 airports that I visited on my trip, the Berlin was definitely the worst without competition. Yeah, everything in Germany just seemed like lower quality. I'm sorry if that offends you as a German, but it just, I don't know, everything just seemed a little worse compared to like London or whatever, America in general. So, yeah, whatever. I wasn't there for that long, and so got on my flight from Berlin to Newark, New Jersey. 9 hours. Just like my flight from America to Paris, I got seated next to an attractive girl. This one was not American, though, so I don't know if she spoke much English. Yeah, it was a 9-hour flight. It went by pretty quick, I guess. I watched a couple movies. I watched Passengers with Chris Pratt and that chick, you know, the popular chick, whose name I can't remember. You know who I'm talking about. Yeah, it wasn't great. It was very just kind of a romance chick flick, not very sci-fi at all. I thought there would be like a twist in the plot or something like that, but no, there's nothing. And then I watched Avengers 2 just because I was like, whatever. It's a long movie. It's not terrible. Just whatever. And then I tried to get some sleep. I slept for maybe 30 minutes total. And then most of the rest of it was just kind of sitting there. I was just so glad to be on my way back home. It was like, what? I don't care. I'll just sit here and stare at the headrest. I don't care. Waited in New Jersey for a little while. I had to go through customs. I lied a bunch. I guess I didn't really lie on purpose about what I was bringing back into my own country. But they give you this form, and it has like 6 spots where you're supposed to declare what you're all bringing back. And I don't even know if the dude looked at the backside, so I don't know if it even mattered at all. And I brought back more than 6 things, so I would have basically needed 2 forms, and I was like, fuck it. So, yeah, I lied about half the stuff I was bringing back, but nobody cared. Nobody cared. Basically, as long as you don't have, like, a giant bomb or a handgun or something in your suitcase, you'll probably get through security fine. Unless you're not white, then maybe you have trouble. I don't know. I did not have any trouble throughout any of my security ever, so it was all good. But I'm also not a criminal. Yeah, so then got on the plane to Chicago. I got seated next to this old, grizzled motherfucker who looked like Chris Christopherson. And in fact, I thought it might have actually been Chris Christopherson. I actually looked up to see if he was still alive, and he is. So it might have actually been him. I didn't want to ask. But it looked like him. And yeah, he could have been. I think he might have been crazy, though, because he was just sitting there, and his mouth was moving, and his head was nodding. And he was making hand gestures as if he was talking to someone. So I'm pretty sure he was insane. So I definitely did not want to ask him any questions. And that was a pretty quick flight, only an hour and 45 minutes or something like that. And I was just so glad to be finally back over the greatest country on earth. Yeah. Arrived in Chicago, met my parents. Got some Qdoba. And here we are. So yeah, things did not work out. And yet, I'm not that sad, as I said. I think part of me was kind of ready for it. By the time I told her, I think part of me kind of knew pretty much within a day that this girl does not love me. This girl is not smitten with me in any way. You know? And I guess a part of me probably knew that for a while. I just didn't want to really admit it. You know, I think I was kind of telling myself that she was just shy. She's just not the kind of person that really opens up or anything like that. But really, you know, based on her frequency of chatting and you know, the way she kind of talked and stuff like that, it's just not how you think a girl who's smitten with you would converse. So yeah, I guess part of me kind of knew for a while, and that helped me get ready for the eventual rejection. But other than that, for one, I'm glad I do not have to move to Germany, because that would just be... I mean, I would have done it. You know, if she really, really was interested in me like that, and it was serious, I would. I mean, I'd move to another country for a love of my life. I would hope plenty of people would do that. Right? But as it is, I'd much rather live in America than Germany. There aren't too many things about Germany that I was like, yeah, this is awesome. So that's good. Not leaving behind all my friends and family and all that. But also, yeah, I guess we're just really not that compatible. I mean, for one, we really have nothing in common. I like Dungeons and Dragons, and she likes riding horses. And I could never be with someone that doesn't like Jurassic Park or Star Wars or The Flash. Like it just would not work. You know, I liked her because I liked her personality. You know, she was she's a very sweet, compassionate person that I could never really be. You know, and I think she is intelligent, which is a trait that I admire quite a bit. But aside from that, yeah, I guess we're not that compatible, so I think it's probably okay overall. Like, as I'm sitting here, I'm not like, oh gosh, I'm so sad about it. It's just like, eh. So, that's good. It's better to be eh. You know, it's the sad part, I guess, is that it was pretty much a year of my life devoted to focusing on this girl, and you know, I bought her gifts and yeah. And really, I don't know if we're gonna stay friends. I don't know if things changed between us or not or anything, and I don't know, she just doesn't talk that much. She doesn't like English that much. She doesn't like talking in English, and I'm certainly never going to learn German now. So I kind of decided that if she wants to be friends, like, the ball is in her court. You know, if she wants to talk all the time and remain friends and play WoW or whatever, then fine. You know, she's a nice person. I can do that, and it's not like I didn't enjoy her company for the last year. But if it's up to me, it's just like, eh. I mean, I have friends. I have friends that can understand my English, you know, perfectly fine. And, you know, it is effort to have sort of a long distance friendship, and especially with a bit of a language barrier, it's just, eh. That's why I said, you know, I think we'll be cousins, because I never talk to my cousins. Again, other than Mert, but that's only to make fun of him. Alright, so that's that. I am back in America. I'm back at my computer desk. Couldn't be happier. It'll be quite a while before I go to Europe again, Ren, so, yeah. Don't set any reservations yet. Alright, so, let's see then. Tomorrow, on the Exploring series, the Boba Fett video is going to go live that I had prepared. Then I think this week I'm going to be working on the Darth Bane video. And then I think next week, probably Tuesday, I will announce the poll. I'll put up the poll for the next series. And then on Friday, I'll put out another video that kind of strips the poll down to like the top 3 choices. And then the following Monday, I will announce the winner of the poll and what the next series is going to be. So then the following Monday after that will be the first video of the new series, which will probably be Warhammer 40k, but you never know. On this channel, as far as LPs go, I don't know if there's anything brand new that I need to care about. I don't know. I haven't really been paying attention too much. We do have Zelda Spirit Tracks, which we will get into, of course. But I'll look around for any games that I want to Let's Play, new stuff coming out, things like that. I don't know. I just got back. I've been awake for about 22 hours now. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so that's that. That's the Europe trip. The Euro trip, as some call it. Overall, if I had just stayed home and had $7,000 extra, I'd probably be a little bit happier. But I don't totally regret the trip. You know, it was my first time on a plane, my first time in an airport, my first time on a train, my first time on a subway, pretty much my first time in a taxi. You know, I got to try a lot of new things. I drank wine, I drank beer, I drank brandy, I drank margaritas and mojitos and blah, blah, blah. There was a lot of new experiences, and, you know, I wouldn't really call any of them terrible. Some of them enlightening, you know, changed me as a human being, perhaps. So yeah, I don't regret going. There were certainly things that I would change if I could do it over again. And it will be quite a while before I go back to Europe. And if I do, it won't ever be for 3 weeks. And if I do go back, it will probably be with other people. It'll be with my dad, or or friends, or something like that. When I was in Germany, I was pretty much by myself, so it was just, that's rough. But that is the end of that saga. Now, Mangg of the world, yep. I hope you've enjoyed the multi-hour ramblings of my European trip. But it's time for things to get back to normal, and I couldn't be happier about that. So, alrighty. My name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg. And I will see you fine folks next week.